one of the judges, and he said, if it were up to me, you would have won. He thought it was fantastic. So I'm proud of our entry.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Who could have been a judge? This man right here, Onondaga County Sheriff Gene Conway.
All right, and we welcome the sheriff because we have a lot of important things to talk about, especially when it comes to keeping your kids safe. Here on the fairgrounds, let's tell them about the Child ID program that's here.
Operation Safe Child, the New York State Sheriff's Association sponsors this program for many years now at the fair. We're in the Science Building, and what we do is we offer free child identification cards. We capture some information, we put it on the card, we put it in our database, and then should ever that child go missing, we have descriptive information that can go out almost instantaneously to better our chances of finding that child.
Well, as we've talked about several times here, Sheriff, school starts next week, and I know a big topic for everybody is school safety in light of what has happened in recent months. You were part of the task force recently to really examine what schools should be doing. The report just came out a few weeks ago. What were some of the biggest takeaways for you, and kind of what's your mission now that that report is out?
Biggest takeaway for me was the collaboration that the subcommittees came together, and then as part of the full task force, the ability to sit down with school officials, with experts on school violence was tremendously helpful to me, and I know to the other representatives on the law enforcement subcommittee that participated in this. So many things came out in the different disciplines as far as school violence, school safety, and of course law enforcement's role in school safety.
And Sheriff, you guys did your work. The task force worked really hard on coming up with all these recommendations. You did your research and your homework, and the report is ready for all of us to read. What would you like to see parents do now that the information is out there?
I would like parents to be aware that this is a multifaceted approach in keeping our children safe now in schools. Something they hear that comes home with a child needs to be reported. Something that happens in the school where the school needs to be just a little bit tighter as far as security, we now have recommendations. And as far as a law enforcement response, we now have come up with a unified school shooter response plan that hopefully every agency will utilize. So those precious seconds that we're given to respond there and try to terminate that threat will best be addressed by this unified plan.
I know a big push for you, even before the task force, was the proper state funding. SROs are becoming more and more common in school districts now. You'd like to see more of that and try to get the state funding to arm them, correct?
Absolutely. The SRO program has been in existence for many, many years. Actually, back in the 1950s, it began in Flint, Michigan, with the sole purpose of trying to create a better bond between law enforcement and youth. And there are approximately 20,000 SROs across the country today doing great work. We feel strongly that a school's only impediment should not be financing in order to have an SRO in that school. And so we are hopeful that through the legislative session, the schools are able to acquire those funds and we can get more SROs into schools.
All right, Sheriff Gene Conway, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll be talking more about this in the near future as our kids head back to school next week.
Big issue. Thank you, Sheriff, again.